Now we are going to discuss about the application of Weibull function. I told you we can't apply Weibull function alone. We have to use constant hazard model also. So in order to explain the application of Weibull function, we are considering hazard curve or the failure rate curve of table 1. We are going to consider the bathtub curve of table 1. So this one is bathtub curve. So here the second zone is very clear. What is second zone? The service zone or the constant zone. That is very clear. This one is a constant zone. So definitely we can represent that portion by using a constant value. So what is a constant value? Either we can use 0.1 or 0.101. Okay, any one we can represent. Okay. So if you are representing this constant value as 0.101, so we can represent this constant value as Z1 of t. Z1 of t is nothing but constant value Z1 of t. Now I told you if this one is negligible, this portion is negligible. Later we can discuss about how to consider this part. Okay, for a time being, say this part is negligible. Now this part is considered, that is Z1 of t, this constant value. Then what is the remaining portion? This one is the third region. This one minus this constant value. So that one is the next portion. So we can write it as Z1, Z2 of t. So the actual failure rate shown in this figure is Z of t. We can split that one into two parts. The first one is Z1 of t and second one is Z2 of t. What is Z1 of t? That one is a constant one, constant failure rate. So we can represent Z1 of t by using constant failure model. The next portion is Z2 of t. That one is a nonlinear characteristics. This portion is carrying nonlinear characteristics. So we can use Weibull function to represent this Z2 of t. So please note the actual failure rate is split into two. First portion is Z1 of t, that is constant value, this constant region, plus the remaining portion, that one is nonlinear characteristics Z2 of t. So how we are doing this? That I am going to explain. Okay. So please note this blue colored one. This blue colored one is the given failure rate. This one is the failure rate of table 1, the blue colored one. Okay, so we can write it as Z of t. This is Z of t. That is equal to. Now I told you we have to represent the constant value by using a constant hazard model. So that constant value is, this constant value is 0.101. So there is no need to write Z1 of t directly. We can write that value 0.101. We can directly write that value, that is Z1 of t, constant value, plus. So the red color is 0.101. So what is the remaining portion? Subtract 0.101 from this set. This blue colored one is set. Subtract 0.101 from this blue colored one. So we have Z2 represented by using this orange colored one. So this one is Z2, the remaining portion. This one is Z2. If you are subtracting Z1, that is 0.101 from the given failure rate, the blue colored one, we have Z2, that is orange colored one. You can see that the difference between blue color and this orange color is 0.101. Always this difference is 0.101. Okay. So here the gap is small because it is suddenly increasing. That is why the gap is small. But if you are taking the difference is always at a particular time, the difference will be 0.101. Is it clear all of you? So the orange colored one, we can write it as Z2 of t. Z of t is equal to 0.101 plus Z2 of t. Is it a So we can write Z of, here I told you Z1 is constant, so lambda equal to 0.101. So we have to find Z2, we have to approximate Z2, okay, because Z is equal to 0.101 plus Z2. So we are going to represent Z2 by using a Weibull model. Okay, so how to do that? So I am going to select this orange colored one alone. Okay, so take Z2. So this one is Z2. This particular one is Z2. You can see that from 2 to 13 Z2 is 0 because we subtracted 0.101 from Z. So that is Z2. So from 2 to 13 we have constant region. So if you are subtracting 0.101, it is 0. This portion we have 0. And I told you we are neglecting this region. We are, for a time being, we are neglecting this region. So we can assume this portion also, the value of Z2 at this point, we can assume it as 0. Okay. So now, what is Weibull function? Weibull function W of t or Z of t is equal to k into t raised to m. So that t raised to m have an important property. Always the value of t raised to m is 0. What will be the value of m? Value of t raised to m is 0 at t equal to 0. At t equal to 0, value of k into t raised to m is 0. If t equal to 0. That is one important thing. Second one, value of w of t equal to, say if k equal to 1, value of w of t is equal to 1 if t equal to 1. What will be the value of m? What will be the value of m if t equal to 1, w of t equal to 1? Say k, assume that k equal to 1. Okay. So we can easily represent this Z2 of t by using Weibull model, or we can derive that Weibull function if you are able to normalize this graph. If you are able to normalize this graph, we can easily represent the graph by using a Weibull model. We can easily derive that. So that I am going to do. So here you can see that, first consider the magnitude. The largest magnitude is this one. This one is the largest magnitude. This one is the largest magnitude. So I am going to, so the largest magnitude is 1.899. So what I am going to do? I am going to divide this Z2 of t by using 1.899. So what will happen? We can write it as Z3 of t. So what will happen? The maximum magnitude will be 1. So we are going to normalize the magnitude. Now we are going to consider the normalized magnitude. So all values are divided by 1.89. So that is Z3 of t. That is written here. We are going to change the maximum magnitude to 1. So that is the first step we have to do. So the maximum magnitude is now 1. Now what we have to do? We have to convert time also. Here you can see that the largest time, this largest time is 90. Okay. So please note, Z3 of t have a maximum magnitude of 1. Not Z2. Now we have Z3 of t. So I am going to show that corresponding graph after dividing Z2 with 1.899. What about the Z3 of t? First I have to show that graph. So this one is Z3 of t. What is Z3 of t? Z2 divided by 1.89. So please note, initially we have Z. That Z is split into 2, Z1 and Z2, Z1 plus Z2, where Z1 is 0.101, remaining portion is Z2. So please note, the maximum value of Z is 2. If you are going through table 1, so please go through table 1. You can see that the maximum value of Z is 2 at t equal to 90. So please go through table 1. The maximum value of Z is 2 at t equal to 90. So what is happening? We splitted that Z into 2, Z1 plus Z2, where Z1 is 0.101. So if you are subtracting 0.101 from all value, what about the maximum value at t equal to 90? 2 minus 0.101, we have 1.899. So that one is the maximum value of Z2, remaining portion, Z2 at t equal to 90. So now what we did? We converted that Z2 into Z3 so that the maximum magnitude is 1. So what we did? Z3, we took Z3 of t, that is equal to Z2 divided by 1.89. So the corresponding graph is shown here. So this is the graph of Z3 where the maximum value, this maximum value is 1. All values are also reduced because we have Z3 of t is equal to Z2 by 1.89. The maximum value is 1. Now what is the problem? You can see that the maximum value is occurred at t equal to 90. Now we are going to change this time. We are going to shrink this time scale so that the maximum time is 1. In order to convert the maximum time into 1, we are going to shrink this independent variable. So for that purpose, I am going to take a new time variable, that is tau, that is equal to t by 90. I am going to take a new time variable tau that is equal to t by 90. So now check what will happen. So now substitute tau equal to t by 90. So what will happen? The maximum time, this maximum time is t equal to 19. So that one is converted to tau equal to 1. That is converted to tau equal to 1. So what will happen to Z3 of t? It will change to Z3 of tau, where tau is equal to t by 90. Okay, so we are going to do that particular conversion. Okay, so now substitute tau equal to t by 90, means divide the time the old time value with 19, so that the maximum time t equal to 19 will change into tau equal to 1. So now what we have? So now we have Z3 of tau. This is not t0, this is tau. Z3 of tau. Now we have Z3 of tau. This is the graph of Z3 of tau, where tau is equal to t by 90. So now what is happening? The maximum value of tau is 1, and corresponding to tau, the maximum value of Z3 of tau, the maximum value of Z3 of tau is 1. The maximum value of time is 1, and the maximum means duration of time is 1, and corresponding to tau equal to 1, Z3 of tau equal to 1. Okay, so now we have the both time and magnitude are normalized. I told you we are not considering this region, so this is also 0. So at tau equal to 0, Z3 of tau is equal to 0, and at tau equal to 1, Z3 of tau equal to 1. And Z3 of tau is varying from 0 to 1 if tau is increasing, right? So how to find? So now we are going to represent this graph by using variable function W3 of tau. We are going to represent this variable function by using W3, this graph Z3 of tau by using variable function W3 of tau, that is equal to k into tau raised to m. Okay, W3 of tau is equal to k into tau raised to m. So my first question is, what is the value of k? Now you can easily find the value of k. That is why both magnitude and time are normalized in order to find the value of k. So what is the value of k now? What is the value of this function? I told you Z3 of tau is represented by using variable function W3 of tau, that is equal to k into tau raised to m. Now please say what is the value of k. You can easily say the value of k. Can anyone say that? So at this point, at this particular point, W3 of tau is equal to 1. W3 of tau is what? W3 of tau is k tau raised to m. So at this point tau equal to 1. So this is equal to k. So what is the value of k? So what is the value of k? Please. Yes, exactly. So here, please note, as W3 of tau is equal to 1 at tau equal to 1, then k tau raised to m is equal to 1, where tau equal to 1. So k equal to 1. So by using this string condition, we can find the value of k equal to 1. Is it okay? So we can write the variable function as magnitude at tau equal to 1 is 1, gain of variable function is 1. So therefore variable function fit for Z3 is W3 of tau equal to tau raised to m. For a time being, tau raised to m. Tau raised to m. Is it okay? W3 of tau is equal to tau raised to m. So now we need the value of m. So you can see that this one is the corner point. So if you are selecting m equal to 1, if you are selecting m equal to 1, the variable function will vary like this. If m is equal to 1, it will vary from 0 to 1 linearly. If m equal to 1, if m equal to 2, if m equal to 2, the variable function will be something like this one. And the important thing is, at a tau equal to 0.5, this value will be 0.25. This value will be 0.25 because tau raised to 2 means if tau equal to 0.5 square, this value will be 0.25. Now if m equal to 3, then at a tau equal to 0.5, this value again will decrease to, the graph will be something like this one. This value will be 0.125 because 0.5 raised to 3, 0.5 raised to 3 is something around 0.125, not around, exactly 0.125. Now if m equal to 4, the graph is something like this one. Means this value will be 0.0625. So my question is, what is the value? So this tau equal to 0.5 means exactly half of this one. So what about t? T is equal to 19 divided by 2, half of 19, that is 8.5. So my question is, what is the value of, go through the table one, and corresponding to t equal to say 8, what is the value of failure rate? What is failure rate at t equal to 8? Please go through table 1. What is the value? I think 0.101 or something, a very small value, right? Or 0.103, around that. A very small value we have. Means corresponding to tau equal to 0.5 or t equal to 8.5, that is either 8 or 9 you can take. The value of z is something around 0.101 or 102 something, very small value, or 3. Then z2 is equal to z2 or w3, whatever it is, the value, the magnitude, so that value is very small. So in order to get a very small value, so this value is very small, a very small we have, okay. So in order to get a very small value, we have to take tau something around 8 or 9 or 10, a very large value we have to take. We have to take a very large value because we have a very small value corresponding to t equal to 8 or tau equal to 0.5. Why we have t equal to 8? Because tau is equal to 8 by 19. So tau equal to 0.5 means t by 19 is equal to 0.5. So t equal to 0.5 into 19, that is something around 8 or 9. That is 8.5 the exact value. Sorry, not 8.5, 9.5. 9.5 is the exact value. So we can take either 9 or 10. 9 or 10 because we have integer values, because delta t equal to 1. So we can take either 9 or 10, the value corresponding to 9 or 10. And you can see that the z value is very close to 0.101. So z2 is very close to 0, not 0, very close to 0. So W3, finally W3 is also very close to 0. A very negligible value we need. In order to get a negligible value, this value must be large. 8, 9 or 10, any value we have to take. So here I am taking tau equal to, sorry, m equal to 8. So here I am taking m equal to 8. So W3 of tau is equal to tau raised to 8. So we have to check whether it is correct or not, whether it is an exact fit, whether it is a very good approximation, very good fit or not. If it is not a good fit, we have to change the value. Okay. So I am going to check whether it is a good fit or not. So this red colored one is tau raised to 8. This red colored one is tau raised to 8. So you can see that in some portion it is greater than our thing, in some portion it is less than. So if you are taking the integration of this one, the integration of both curve W3 and Z3 are same, almost same. Is it okay? So I think we can take, so if you are increasing tau raised, if you are increasing m value, if you are taking tau raised to 10 or something, the graph will be something like this one. Then it will suddenly increase like this way. So we will have a large deviation. We will have a large deviation. So m equal to 8, that one is a good fit. I told you in some situation, if that fit is not a good one, you have to take another one. You have to take another m value. Okay, we have to use some trial and error method. Okay, so here I think W3 of t equal to tau raised to 8 is a good fit. Okay, so now what we are going to do? So please note, W3 is a good fit of Z3. Actually, we have Z3 of tau, and in order to represent that Z3 of tau, that blue colored one, where magnitude and time both are normalized, we use the variable function W3 of tau, that is equal to tau raised to 8. Now we are going back to Z2. Actually, how we got Z3 of tau? By substituting tau is equal to 8 by, sorry, t by 90. T is equal to t by 90. So now what about Z3 of t? Z3 of t is equal to W3 of t, that is nothing but replace tau with t by 19. So we have t by 19 all raised to m. Z3 of t is equal, we can represent Z3 of t, where t is equal to tau is equal to t by 19. Replace tau with t by 19. We have W3 of tau, sorry, W3 of t, that is equal to replace tau with t by 19. So we have t by 19 raised to. So that's the first thing I am going to do. So do it. So we have W3 of t, that is the best fit of Z3 of t, that is equal to t by 19 raised to 8. So what about the corresponding graph? This is W3 of tau corresponding to Z3 of tau. Now what about Z3 of t and W3 of t? What is happening? We are converting the magnitude back to the, sorry, the time back to the original time, that is t. We are converting tau to t. So now we have original t. So now we have, this one is t. This independent variable is now not tau t. So here we have W3 of t, Z3 of t. Okay. So now what we have to do? So now we have W3 corresponding to Z3 of t. W3 of t is a variable representation of Z3 of t. Actually, what is Z2 of t? Z2 of t is equal to, Z3 of t is equal to, I don't know, I think I wrongly explained this one. Z3 of t is equal to Z2 of t divided by, not 19, 19 is time, I am very sorry. Z3 of t is 1.899. In order to normalize magnitude, tau is t by 19. In order to get Z3 of t, what we did, we divided all values of Z2 by the maximum value 1.899. So we have Z2 of t is equal to 1.899 into Z3 of t. So what about corresponding variable function? Corresponding variable function W2 of t is equal to 1.899 into corresponding variable function of Z3 of t, that is W3 of t. Okay. So W2 of t, that one is the variable function representation of Z2 of t. Please note, W2 of t is the variable representation of Z2 of t, that is equal to 1.899 into W3 of t, that is t by 19 all raised to 80. So this one is the correct representation. Okay. So we can write W2 of t, that is equal to 1.899 into W3 of t, that is equal to 1.899 into t by 19 raised to 8. So this one is the Weibull model representation of Z2 of t. This one is the Weibull model representation of Z2 of t, that is equal to W2 of t is equal to 1.899 into t by 19 raised to 8. So now you can see that this is actually, so actually what is W of t Weibull function? W of t is equal to k into t raised to m. Okay, so we can take this 19 to outside. So what we have? 1.899 divided by 19 raised to 8. So this is k into t raised to 8. So here k is 1.899 divided by 19 raised to 8. So that one is k. Now this t raised to 8 is m. So we have two parameters. One parameter is 1.899 divided by 19 raised to 8. Second parameter is 8. If you are using two parameter system, if you are using third parameter system, then this is one parameter 1.899. This one is second parameter. This one is a third parameter. Okay, so that is why nowadays three parameter is also used, where gain is one parameter, the time scaling is second parameter, power is third parameter. It's okay. So anyway, the Weibull function representation of Z2 of t is W2 of t, that is equal to 1.899 into t by 19 raised to 8. So now what about our original model? So now original model, that is Z of t, that is equal to Z1 of t plus Z2 of t, where Z1 of t is 0.101. Now we represent Z2 of t by using Weibull model, W2 of t, that is equal to 1.899 into t by 19 raised to 8. So this one is our final model. The failure data is model into 0.101 plus 1.899 into t by 19 raised to 8. So this one is the hazard model of table 1. This one is the hazard model of table 1. This one is a hazard model of table 1. Is it okay? So I am going to show that one. So this is W2 of t. This is W2 of t. You can see that the magnitude is increased back to 1.899. Then we have the final one. The hazard model is h of t. We can write it as Z of t, that is equal to Z1 of t, that is lambda, plus Z2 of t. So this one is a Weibull representation, W2 of t, that is equal to 0.101 plus 1.899 into t by 19 raised to 8. So the corresponding graph is shown here. The corresponding graph, the final graph, the blue colored one is the failure rate of table 1, the given one, and the red colored one is the failure rate given by this hazard model. The red colored one is the failure rate given by the hazard model. You can see that that one is almost similar. Some gap is the, in order to represent the gap, we have to use some numerical technique. So by using Weibull model and constant hazard model, this one is the representation. Is it okay, all of you? Any doubt?